What's going on, guys? Doomwake here, and we are going to be doing something a little bit different today. So for those of you who don't know, I stream on Twitch basically every day, weekdays at 2 p.m., and then weekends can depend based on what tournaments I'm playing, so on and so forth. And live on the Twitch stream, pretty much every day at this point, we get them most days, we do deck techs. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's where Twitch chatter can pay a certain amount of Twitch channel points, which is a currency that is used by Twitch. You can earn those from watching and gambling and things like that. And then we also do paid deck techs for $10 or 2 gifted subs. And, you basically just send in a deck list. I'll take a look. I'll tell you what to cut. I'll tell you what to add, what I like, what I don't like. And people seem to like the deck techs. They like that they're very informative and very in-depth. And what I kind of wanted to try to do is, I don't know if we're going to make this a weekly thing yet, but what we're going to do is I'm going to have my editor kind of pull through maybe a couple of deck techs, not exactly sure how many, maybe just kind of compile those into one video. And I want to hear from you guys. This is kind of your opportunity to be the deck doctor, as it were. You can tell me what do you think about the decks that were sent in? What would you change? What do you like about them? What do you don't like? And I'd love to hear from you guys about this. So without further ado, let's get started. All right. Salty Saint Nick has a deck tech for us, so let's take a look at this before we get started. All right, deck tech for Salty Saint Nick: Blood-Soaked Champion, Fairy Dream Thief, Greedy Freebooter. I don't like these. I really don't like Greedy Freebooter that much. I think that card is terrible. I guess you have Village Rights. When I played this deck, I didn't. I tried the Explorer version that was like the prowess with the 1-drop prowess creatures, cantrips and stuff like that. I didn't feel like I was short on draw spells enough to the point that I want to play Village Rights. So I get where your head's at, but I don't know. You should just play Opt, I get what you're trying to do with Village Rights, but it's not even that Village Rights is that much worse than Opt to begin with in terms of, putting counters with profs. That's just totally fine. At that point, maybe it's just better to just not play the Village Rights, Greedy Freebooter, max out on Dream Thief. You can still play Blood-Soaked Champion because it's good to discard to Shredder. If you still want to be playing Evangel too. I think Evangel is cracked. The Sedgemoor Witches I don't love this card. I mean, it's a powerful card, but I just don't think it's very good in Pioneer specifically. You should definitely be playing 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Fatal Push. That's 100%. Also, yeah, even if you want to play Sedgemoor Witch, you still have to be playing 4 Push, 4 Thoughtseize. You don't want to play Witch without the maximum number of 1-mana spells. Same with Consider too. Playing the Nathan Stoyer card in this deck, I don't know if that's better or worse. It is probably a little bit better than Evangel of Synthesis. So yeah, we'll start building profs once we have the new set, because I have some ideas for profs in Pioneer with the new cards. But yeah, my list would look like 4 Shredder, 4 Nathan, maybe 3 Dream Thief, couple of Blood-Soaked Champions, max 1-mana cards, 4 Crews, 4 profs, couple removal spells. That's how my deck would look. Sideboard, I like the pile. I like a lot of Clings. Don't mind the extra Shieldred. Don't hate the... You should probably play Kaido in the sideboard. Kaido is a good grindy card that draws cards and triggers profs. So I think I like Kaido more than Code for that reason, because it does work with profs. Cling is good, Negate's good. You should play Hearse too. Hearse is good. Maybe 2 Cling, 2 Hearse, couple Negates, couple Pierces. These would be Duresses because you're moving the Thoughtseizes to the main. The Shelly is fine. Don't get me started on the end. Do not even get me started. Don't play this card. Bloodout's good though. Bloodout's good against Vein Ripper, so maybe even 2 Bloodouts is good. The problem with Steam Core Scholar, I think it is appropriate power level for standard Nickel and Dime, but I don't think it's quite good enough for Pioneer. I think we can just do a little bit better. If I were going to consider playing Steam Core Scholar, I think I would choose to play 4 Evangel and 4 Duelist before I played my first copy of Steam Core Scholar. But again, like I said, we'll start building profs once we get all the new cards. And okay, Alazan has got some BUG Midrange. Kaido, Liliana, Oko, the Ringleader. So this is the one that becomes a copy of a creature. The problem I have with Oko is the quote-unquote defensive ability is a minus, right? -1, make a 3/3. So it's you play it, you put it to 2 loyalty, and you make a 3/3. That's kind of tough. But it might still be good, because you can copy... So what are we copying in this deck? We're copying... This is kind of the card that, when I first saw Oko, this is the first card that came to mind. So I think you should probably just consider playing 4 copies of Sentinel and Preacher. These are the best 3-drops with it. Yeah. But I think I would just max out on these. The one Geese is okay. I'm not a huge Urtai fan. I think I would just cut the Urtais. Is this card playable? I don't know. I want it to be, but I'm not quite sure how good it is yet. I don't know how I feel about that card. I kind of think you maybe want a third cut down too. I love cut down. Yeah, it is a 1-drop. I would probably cut the 2 Urtais for the 4th Sentinel and the 3rd cut down. And I would consider cutting... I would probably just not play Tiny Bones and maybe play, like, 2nd Glissa, 4th Go for the Throat. I just want more removal. Like, I like playing 8 removal spells in my mostly Golgari decks. We keep the Okos, keep the Kaido. So then at that point, you're just black-green splashing Oko Kaido, which is fine. And then you get sideboard counter spells. I would do that. The 1 command's fine. I could take or leave the main deck Kaido. That one I'm iffy on. I love that you're playing Gisa over the Bat God. I think this is basically just replace Bat God entirely. This card's kind of sicko. Yeah, just not a fan of Tiny Bones, not a fan of Urtai. More removal, 4th Sentinel, and everything else looks pretty good. Love the strokes in the sideboard, love the duresses. I think 1 Urtai is fine in the board. It's good in the mid-range mirrors, but like you never ever want this card against something like Boros Convoke. That's kind of why I don't like main decking it. Command's fine, Path of Peril, Frillback, Hearse. Yeah, the sideboard looks pretty good. The mana base, so you cut a Cottage for a Vine Stalk, playing Shipwreck, Dark Slick. Mana base looks honestly fine. Yeah, this looks like a good mana base. I agree with playing none of the blue-green fast lane. I don't think you want in this deck, but I like it. All right, little deck tech here for Rosie. What do you got? All right, Doc Flashback has been called. Let cook. Let cook. I would like to mention that the trait doctoring in the deck list, it has been brought to my attention that this is Doc Aurlock. So pretend, for the sake of argument, that this is not the card that it shows here. What is this? 2 mana, 2/2. Tap, add a mana of any color. Tap, add 2 mana of any color. Spend this mana to cast spells from your graveyard. Okay. Demolich, I know what that does. Leer, I know what that does. Consider Deluge Epiphany. So Root Coil makes mana to cast spells from the graveyard. So Deluge would cost 5, and Epiphany would cost 4. So I guess the idea is to just foretell Epiphany, and then, like, turn 2, foretell Epiphany, turn 3, play Doc, turn 4, cast Epiphany. I mean, 4 mana Alrins is kind of nice, but Alrins does not work with Creeper, right? Because this is only spells from your graveyard. Are there any other good flashback cards that we could play? Just play ultimatums? Well, how are we casting ultimatums? The whole point of the deck is so that you utilize this. So you either plot cards or have flashback cards. Ultimatums do neither of those, right? Cheating the spell with plot. Well, is there a card that lets you plot, like, cheaper cards, like more expensive cards? I know that Jace only plots 3 mana cards. Oh, the new Fibblethip? I don't know about that. Yeah, that's a good point, too. Ultimatums don't work because Doc makes them cost 2 generic less. So, see, okay, here's the part of the deck that I like, right? I like the synergy between Doc and Alrund's Epiphany. I think those 2 cards work very well together. Past that, it gets a little sketchy. Those 2 cards that's a good engine, right? But it's like, how do we abuse those 2 cards? Because honestly, the rest of this deck I'm not a huge fan of. But I'm sure there's got to be a deck with Epiphany plus Doc. I just don't know what other cards work well with that. Adventure cards? Adventure cards are good with Doc, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I like Epiphany and I like Doc. The rest of this I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I think this card kind of sucks. Demolich is maybe fine, because if you're going off with, like, Doc and, like, Doc Leer, then you can go Leer, cast a bunch of cantrips from the graveyard. You should play 8 cantrips for sure. Yeah. Just, like, I don't know, is Deluge even good for 5? Because then you're only looking at 5 cards. I guess that's fine. Like, you're looking at 5 and getting 2 of them. That's still decent, but... Yeah, 5 mana exile 5. You're thinking of 3 RG. What's that? 3 RG, exile 5 cards. Play an extra land. What's that card? Escape to the Wilds. Yeah, Escape to the Wilds is kind of nice with Doc. So maybe you should build around... Here would be my suggestion, Rosie. Doc Aurlock, Escape to the Wilds, and Alrund's Epiphany. Those 3 cards seem to work pretty well together. but my recommendation would be try to find some way to abuse casting spells from exile and ignore the graveyard part of it. Because I think for the most part, the flashback cards are kind of mid. So if there's like, think about other ways to exile cards from your library, right? Or other ways like adventure cards, something like that. Yeah, questing druids, stuff like that. Where like you want to take advantage more of the fact that you're exiling cards than the fact that you're putting cards with flashback into your graveyard. So cook something up. Send me a full list this time. But that would be my suggestion at first. Is like trying to find more ways to pay you off for playing cards from exile. Flames with the deck tech. The deck is called Reading the Bolt Explains the Bolt. Oh, it's all textless burn spells. I see. Dude, I love the mana tithes, by the way. The mana tithes are just like the perfect... It's just like the chef's kiss, Okay, this is really good. This might be the best deck tech that I've ever looked at. Just, can we get claps in the chat for Flames? Please and thank you. Just the 3 fireballs, just chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss. Reading the Bolt explains the Bolt. Not just the mana tithes, but the full text mountains. Oh, perfect. Yeah, nobody knows what mountain does. Wait, are the sideboard cards also... Oh, of course they are. Yeah, of course. 10 out of 10 would play in the modern format. Dude, what if we did a tournament where you could only play textless non-land cards? All right, let's go Scryfall, Advanced Search, Bituminous Blast, Brave the Elements. There's a textless command tower? Is that real? What is that from? Because it looks like, does that look like fan art? Like it's commissioned or something? It's from Secret Lair. Okay, I guess it's real. Counterspell, Corrupt, Cruel Edict. Oh, there's got to be a mono black deck, right? Corrupt, Edict, Damnation, Voidwalker, Dark Confidant, Doomblade. Hello? Infest. I don't even know what this card is. Nameless Inversion. Splash green for Putrefy. Let's do it. Sign in Blood. Hello. Easy mono black. Terror, Unmake, Zombify. I've solved it. Mono black. Mono black, splash, maybe red for Terminate. There you go. Mono black is the best textless deck.